Welcome to the 58th episode of the Mayor's Mixtape. I'm Haley Sue Robinson, Director of Public Affairs for the City of Pueblo.
And I'm Heather Graham, City of Pueblo Mayor.
Brian McCain, Chief of Staff.
And I want to remind you, you can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on local channel 17. And there are lots of opportunities to download, share, subscribe, like, leave a review. And don't forget, if you have questions, you can email us, mayor@pueblo.us. Or if you have a topic suggestion, we'd love to hear it. Let's talk about the cleanup this weekend. Yeah. We had a very successful cleanup. Brian gave an update last night at the work session. We had 97 roll-offs total with an estimated 180 tons of trash. 38 tons from CSU Pueblo and 142 tons from the Colorado State Fair. I know we had 832 carloads come through the Colorado State Fairgrounds. You and I were out at the State Fairgrounds. Brian, you were up at CSU Pueblo. We also had Councilor Hernandez, who helped us at the State Fairgrounds, Councilor Ruiz Gomez, and Councilor Latino was up at CSU Pueblo. In addition to Team Up to Clean Up, if you missed this weekend, you weren't able to join us, you couldn't dump your trash, we do have discount days with Waste Connections from May 4th through May 16th. For spring cleanup, this is a 50% discount for City of Pueblo residents to use the Southside landfill. So you can bring solid waste, trash, yard trimmings, mattresses, box springs. Please cover your loads and make sure that they're secure in order to receive the discount. If your trash is blowing everywhere, you will not receive the discount. Waste Connections Southside landfill hours are Monday through Friday from 7 to 5 and Saturdays 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. No appliances, electronics, liquids, paint, tires, hazardous waste, construction, demolition, or roofing materials. None of that is offered with this offering for discount days. So if you miss dumping your trash, you can still dump your trash. Last night we had 7 different presentations on the council work session. So one of the things to start was the legislative update. Brian, is there anything that you want to share about that?
Yeah, I think the bill that the Romeros brought up was the Senate Bill 26-176, State Remedies for Constitutional Rights Violations, also known as the No Kings Act. Mm-hmm. As they gave the presentation, there are some concerns with it that it opens up litigation for basically anything. Anybody can claim that their constitutional rights were violated. So they gave the example that you show up to council, you have 5 minutes to speak, mm-hmm. and then if council cuts you off at 5 minutes, you can say that your freedom of speech was violated, and it opens a lawsuit up to sue council or the city for it. Ironically, as they were given that presentation asking for council to take a position on it, it died. So it was PI'd or postponed indefinitely in committee, I think 5 minutes after they gave their presentation. So it will be back next year along with some of these other bills. The other one was the Senate bill, I think I talked about it last week, the 70, which was the flock bill. Mm-hmm. That did not pass either. Mm-hmm. But all of these bills that we took opposition as a city against, they have said that they will be back next year. So we have some
so they're not
time
dead.
No, they're just temporarily dead. But
okay.
They'll be back next year, and we'll be monitoring that too.
Okay. Speaking of legislation, so last week, Chief Noller put out a video. We had a lot of social media shares and a lot of folks on social media reaching out, talking about the Steel City Deli incident. And so Chief Noller put together a video to address the public about that. I thought maybe you'd want to speak about that a little bit, Mayor, and why that in particular was important to us.
Yeah, so the video that was put out by the deli mm-hmm. Ended up getting its way, back to us because as the chief said, the first time around that wasn't presented.
We didn't know there was any video footage.
Yeah, and the offender obviously has some issues. Mm-hmm. And Chief Noller spoke to those issues and how it's really handcuffing the police department when they are trying to arrest or detain individuals, put people in jail, and ultimately making sure that these individuals are charged with their crimes. And so we thought it was important for the chief to be able to tie that back to legislation that has been passed and how it affects the community and the citizens of Pueblo, because I don't think that people realize, the chief said people are saying, why won't the police do anything? Yeah. And so I thought it was a good explanation of why the police can't do anything.
Sure.
And I think that that's important to make sure that we continue to tell that story when it comes to legislation that's affecting our community.
Well, and I think he also pointed out, so the complaint is the police don't do anything, or why don't they do anything? And while the outcome basically is that nothing happens, they still do something, right? So they still issue citations, they still take reports, they still arrest folks, they still attempt to take folks to jail, whether they remain in jail or not. But for the general public, it feels like nothing is happening. And so I felt like that was a really good explanation. He outlined that we have 41 folks in Pueblo that have committed crimes that we feel every day. And so we're not trying to gaslight the public and say, oh, crime's down, this stuff is not happening, it's just your imagination. It is happening. Unfortunately, those folks
they'll never pay a consequence.
Yeah, are able to continue their behavior. And so we share the frustration.
Yeah,
it wasn't just like
somewhere, somehow, a judge found them incompetent to be able to stand trial or be charged and face any consequence.
Yeah, and then that brings up the issue of mental health availability and treatment options and what we're able to do for these folks to help them get the help that they need.
The chief also talked about, Health Solutions currently has 15 beds in their ATU. Detox, I don't know how many beds Detox even has, but they're both going to be losing their funding, and the ATU and Detox are going to be closing June 15th, I think the chief said. So we're about to see some serious impacts in the city of people in Denver.
And similar to what we've seen previously with the state hospital and closing those units and the chemical dependency unit with UC Health. It's kind of just stacking against us at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shifting back to council last night, we also had a presentation from Director of Housing and Citizen Services, Melissa Cook, about CDBG. We also had a presentation from Stormwater about the study they've conducted, specifically Colorado State Fairgrounds and the Bessemer neighborhood. We had some good questions about what that looks like moving forward. Sounds like we're going to have some.
Yeah, we're going to see construction starting.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. And, I think some of council mentioned it feels like we've talked about this for a long time. I think that's a fair statement we have, but we're going to see some progress and some construction and upsizing and get some relief and work done for the community.
Yeah, we started this study probably about a year ago. So in government time, it's actually kind of quick.
It is. Yeah. And then we'll have some public outreach and some feedback. So we'll have some town halls that we'll be updating folks about and announcing soon. Also, Mayor, you presented about Advanced Pueblo. Seems like we talk about that pretty often, but was there anything in particular you wanted to share?
This is just more of, I just wanted to enlighten the council for those who aren't aware, because some don't sit on the committee.
Sure.
Or the citizens, that the city is still continuing to do what we can when it comes to the application process and people connecting, prospects, citizens, anybody with questions, being able to have an outlet, somebody that they can contact and get additional information from. And I think that was really what the presentation was about. Is how we have continued moving forward since January 1st.
And I think Councilor Dante asked a really important question as far as, so maybe I am not a new business prospect or I'm not a developer. I just have some questions and I'm not really sure what to do, who to talk to, where's the right group, is it even the city?
Right.
Can I use Advanced Pueblo for that?
Yeah, and that's what we told her. We get all kinds of questions and where we have to point people in other directions all the time. Maybe they're businesses in the county, or maybe they are looking for a tax-exempt license or a regular business license, and where do you do that? Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
How do you start your routing sheet? And so we're trying to kind of be the concierge for all of those questions.
And to be fair, I mean, those are things that we've done in the mayor's office for years.
Yeah.
Prior to Advanced Pueblo ever being a city entity. I know our folks here in the mayor's office, the city clerk's office, planning, public works, our admin staff, they answer those questions all the time. We have folks that ask us questions that we say, oh, you need to speak to somebody at the county, or actually this is something at the state level. Do you need a contact? That's kind of our everyday job.
It is.
Anyway.
Yeah, we just give it a name now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an important question.
I did too.
Great. Anything else you want to update us there or talk about in particular?
Tomorrow we're going to Canyon City for round 3 of a DOLA grant. So that's exciting. City's been successful in the 2 previous grants for the Real-Time Crime Center and the boathouse. So this time we're applying for the grant for infrastructure for the homeless shelter.
For that next phase, that's
the next phase,
in that kind of in between area between the permanent resident shelter at 728 and between 710. We have that parking lot, the asphalt area. So that would be a grant for that area.
Yeah,
in the next phase.
Super competitive. This is probably going to be the most competitive grant cycle that they've had, just because a lot of their funding is also getting cut, and they have twice as many applications in as they do for funding. So this grant encompasses lots of different water quality, etc. So we'll see how we do.
It's a little bit broader than
it is,
normal.
Yeah.
It seems like that's kind of the grant world right now, is that regardless of who you're applying with, they're seeing more applications and it's much more competitive, and we're all vying for the
same money.
Yep. The dollars that are available.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's tomorrow. So hopefully we don't get snowed in and in the city.
Right. Absolutely.
We'll have to Zoom it.
Okay. I'd prefer not to Zoom it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's more impactful when you're there in person.
It is. Absolutely. Okay. Anything else I'm missing that we need to talk about? No. Okay. Great. Short and sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. I'd like to remind the listener you can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you again for joining us on Saturday at Team Up to Cleanup. Don't forget about discount days with Waste Connections. And if you are looking for updates, you can check us out online, Facebook, Instagram, all of the city's social media. And if you have a topic suggestion or question, you can email us, mayor@pueblo.us. And we'll see you next week.